Good morning and welcome to Legally Speaking with attorney Antoinette Osbourne. This program is for information purposes only. If you need legal advice, you can contact me, Antoinette Osbourne, at 718-502-9137. That's 718-502-9137. The office focuses on divorce, immigration, bankruptcy, real estate, and estate matters. We also do eviction proceedings. There is a second office in Jamaica, West Indies that focuses on legal representation. If you are looking to buy or sell property in Jamaica, or if you are looking to wrap up an estate. This morning, I wanted to focus on whether or not one should remain a green card holder versus applying for citizenship. And just a reminder, starting April 1st, the fees are increasing. So if you have an application to put in, please ensure that not the sending, but the delivery is going to be prior to April 1st, as the forms are going to be changing. In addition to the forms changing, they are going to be looking for the new fees. All right, so for those of you who are not yet citizens and you are thinking about applying for citizenship, I am going to just give you a few pointers and it's your decision, having heard the information, whether or not you want to apply for citizenship. So Nicola is not here with us this morning, so I have to be both the presenter and the moderator. So don't forget to like the live, don't forget to share the live, and don't forget to subscribe, right? And if you have a question, you are more than welcome to call in this morning at 718-502-9137. Good morning, June. All right, so let's kind of take a look at citizenship. Is this something that is right for you? Some people may have a reservation, and for people who may lose their citizenship of their home country, it is really a big decision for them as to whether or not they really should be applying for citizenship. But this morning, I just wanted to focus on whether or not this is something that you should be considering, right? Now, if you have the citizenship, as a citizen, you cannot get deported. If you are born in the United States, they definitely cannot deport you. If you are naturalized, there is a catch to this. If you are naturalized and you become the subject of a denaturalization proceedings, as they first have to strip you of your citizenship. And under the prior Trump administration, it was discovered that a lot of people were able to acquire citizenship, and there were flaws in their immigration applications. So everyone is fully aware that we are a more technologically advanced nation. We are not so dependent on paperwork. And what was happening was people's fingerprints were being recently uploaded in the FBI database. So having been uploaded, it was discovered that people acquired citizenship and they were deported. And what a lot of people did was they came back, they get a new birth certificate, they go to the embassy, they apply for a visa. It's a completely different person. But what you have to understand is that the fingerprints, no matter what, your fingerprints do not lie. And because the FBI was basically, everything now is being uploaded, and one government entity has now the cross reference to see what is going on with another. I mean, everything is electronic now. So here it is discovered that people have gotten the citizenship where they had criminal records which were not uploaded, or they had a prior deportation, did not disclose this, and now everything is uploaded in the database, so it's discovered. Now, under the Trump administration, they had created what was called, I believe it was Operation Janus, where the main focus was to go through old files to see who, in fact, acquired the citizenship wrongfully. Now, denaturalization proceedings is a court proceedings. It's not an administrative proceeding where USCIS is just going to take that citizenship away. No. What happens is you are thrown into the court system, and the issue is whether or not you are a citizen. So your whole immigration background is going to be delved into to see whether or not this application merited a favorable grant of citizenship. So that's one of the plus of applying for citizenship. The only people who really don't have to worry about losing their citizenship is that you don't have any misrepresentations in your application for the green card or in your application for your citizenship. There are no criminal records that are out there that immigration was not aware of when you got your citizenship. So, in terms of saying once you're a citizen, you cannot be deported, there is a caveat to that, and that is if your immigration application that led to you acquiring citizenship is not flawed. For example, there are no prior misrepresentations in your application which ultimately become discoverable to USCIS, or in fact you have no criminal history that was not revealed. Now, the fact that you have not been convicted of a crime does not make you safe from them going in and actually looking to take back the citizenship. And I'll tell you about a lady in Florida. And this is where I'm going to urge you, immigrants, be very careful where you put in an application to work, where you are actually working. I have had, and this has even happened to me, where someone came to my office and the woman looked like a complete angel. And having a conversation with her, you know, you wonder how it is that you have a felony, yeah? And this is where you really cannot judge a book by its cover. And what she told me was she was working somewhere, and unfortunately her employer was committing, I think it was Medicare or Medicaid fraud. And having worked there, she was caught up, right? And she was charged and she pled guilty. Because one of the things with these pleas is that you are presented with the fact that you plea out, you don't have any jail time. You take it to trial, you take the risk. You know, if you are found guilty, you have a substantial amount of a prison term to face. And people will take the easy way out. But these things affect you when you are applying for certain jobs, when you need certain licenses. It you just have to be careful. I had a client, he was charged, I think, for rape twice, and he fought it. Yeah, because he knew he was an immigrant. He knew ultimately that he wanted to apply for a green card, and this would affect him, right? And he fought it, and rightfully so. But one of the things that will happen is if you're on a scholarship, the school doesn't want to get involved in this madness. So you lose your funding for school. And now you're forced to drop out of school. And I'm so repulsed where women go ahead and engage in false accusations against men for rape, because I don't think they understand when you lie on somebody like this, the negative consequences are dire. Even if they are not convicted, it carries such serious ramifications for them in their personal life, in their professional life. And I really believe that women who engage in this course of action, you should be charged. I think you should serve serious time, because you are in fact affecting someone's life. Anyway, back to the Florida woman, right? So she was working somewhere, and unfortunately, her boss got charged with a crime. And what happened was they investigated her. There's a question on your citizenship application, which it states, have you, I believe it states, and it's on the green card application, like, have you ever committed a crime for which you were not arrested? And this lady, the incident with her employer happened prior to her applying for citizenship. She left the job. She wasn't charged then. She applied for her citizenship and she got it. Come sometime later, after she got the citizenship, she's now being charged. And immigration took the position that she lied, because she was fully aware of the charges against her employer and her implications prior to her applying for citizenship, right? So now she ended up in a proceedings where her citizenship was sought to be taken away. And I'll tell you this, every question on your immigration forms, it has a purpose, right? And what you have to understand, when you're in front of, it's the government, law enforcement, yeah? When you're asked a question, they're not your friends. And there is merit behind every answer that you make, yeah? So this poor woman all of a sudden is facing some serious criminal charges, and she's about to lose her citizenship. Good morning, Maxine. Good morning, Lester. Good morning, Amarildo. Thanks, June, for being like a moderator to like up the live. Good morning, Brian, and good morning, Melanie, listening from Mount Vernon. So when you are applying for your citizenship, there are certain clients that I have told them not to, because if they apply, and especially for those who come into my office and they have an aggravated felony, my office is not pushing that through for you, right? And even if you're able to get a 212C waiver where just a few people are eligible for this, the 212C waiver is such for that crime, it will cancel the deportation, right? So you can live, you can work in the United States, and you can travel, but you're never eligible for citizenship. So I want you to be very careful, yeah? It says that you can't be deported, but to everything, there is a caveat, yeah? One of the good things in holding, and we're just this morning, we are focusing on some of the benefits in applying for US citizenship. Is this the right move for you? Should you be making this application? And I'll tell you this, one of the benefits to this is that when you carry this US passport and you're traveling to certain countries, you do not have to apply for a visa. And anyone who has applied for a visa, you have to submit financial records, because the country that you are going to be applying to want to ensure that you are not going to run off in their country. So you must have some sort of ties, some sort of stability in your home country, whether you have a business, whether you have a job to go back to. But it's just so burdensome gathering the documents so that you have to apply for the visa. So this is such a substantial benefit of having the US passport, right? However, I will tell you this, if your country does not recognize dual citizenship, do not make this decision lightly, right? Another benefit to applying for your citizenship is the federal benefits that you can have when you apply for your US citizenship. So here it is, you can vote in certain elections, and I will tell anyone this: if you are a green card holder or you are undocumented, be very careful how you go about voting, right? I believe you can vote in local elections, but I would encourage you, before you go ahead and exercise as a green card holder any right to vote, right? Check the rules. And for those of you who are applying for your driver's license, do not, if you are a green card holder or you are an immigrant, whether you have a status or not. So you could be on a student visa, or you could just be out of status. So everybody in New York and a lot of states are allowing undocumented people to get their driver's license. And most states have on that form whether or not they want to register to vote. The problem is, you check off this box, you are certifying under penalty of perjury that you are a US citizen. And anyone who has made a false claim to US citizenship after September 30th, 1996, there are no waivers for that. So I'm gonna just encourage you, be very careful. And I had a client who came to me, and this was so devastating, because her sister was in fact filing for her. And anybody who has benefited from a green card because of a sibling is fully much aware this really takes a long time. And I think on current processing time, sibling to sibling right now, it is about 15 to 17 years. That's how long it's taking. And she was in the batch where it was taking, I believe it was 10 or 11 or 12 years then. And what was so sad was this woman was what was referred to as 245I so that she could actually pick up in the United States. And when she went into her interview, and this is why nothing beats getting legal advice. When she went into the interview, the officer said, I would have granted this application, but for your false claim to citizenship. And she couldn't understand. False claim to citizenship, what are they talking about? The problem it was years ago, she, I think it was in Nassau County, you had someone who was looking to be elected. I can't recall in what capacity. And he said to her, she said, I'm not a citizen. Can I do this? And he said to her, absolutely. You're a resident of Nassau County, right? You live here. Absolutely, you can register to vote. And that one piece of wrong information caused a woman who was waiting, I can't recall whether it was 10 to 13 years at the time, but it was not so long as it is now, prevented this woman from getting her green card. And it's so sad because anyone who has sat and you've waited and you are trying to get this green card, because whilst you're waiting, if you fall in a preference category, you do not get a work permit. Let's get real. You don't get a work permit. So you're here waiting all this time to become eligible for that green card. And to go into that interview after waiting for years and you do not qualify because of something you have done, it's devastating. Yeah. All right. So if you are just tuning in, Nicola is not here today. So we are without a moderator, right? So God's child said, my son is 17 years old. My husband filed for him. He's a US citizen. He has done his interview over a month now, and it's showing that it is refused. What can I do? So I take it that your son is out of the country because it's usually the Department of State website that reflects refuse. Now, she's saying, I did my interview over a month now, and I have not gotten any notification to collect my passport. Now, God's child, this sounds like you're definitely out of the country. My husband is a citizen. On the side, it's saying ready from February 5th. So you are supposed to have registered with a courier service that the embassy requires you to register with. Have you reached out? Have you contacted them with regards to your son where it says refuse? The embassy on the day of the interview usually gives you a paper which would clearly state why it is that you are being refused. So you should look at, okay, so God's child says she's applying from Jamaica, and yeah, she said she did register, right? So for your child, if they were refused, you can reach out to the embassy. They have an email address for applicants for an immigrant visa, you can reach out to that email address, provide your case number, and they should be able to tell you why is it that the child is refused and what additional steps or documents needs to be performed, all right, or submitted. So the fact that it's refused, it's not denied. And you are just required to follow up on any requirements that they have, that whether it's a document submission or you have to take an additional step. This is something that you have to look about. And it's only like 4 weeks. So you can send the embassy if you so desire. There is an email on the website where you can follow up to see what's going on with the passport. All right. So today we are focusing on whether or not one should apply for their citizenship or just remain a green card holder. One of the things people will seek to get the citizenship is for federal benefits. And when I say federal benefits, I don't just mean public assistance. You are eligible to apply for federal jobs, right? And I think most of these jobs are on USA.gov. So you can apply for these jobs. Green card holders are, in fact, not permitted to apply for these jobs. You are also have the ability to get a wide cross section of public benefits, right? As a green card holder, you are restricted from getting certain public benefits. One of the most important right of a US citizen, at least important in my eye, is your ability to vote. And I'm going to encourage everyone, the elections are coming up. Ensure that you are registered and please go out and vote. So, with regards to these benefits, if you just got the green card, you are also not able to get the federal means tested benefits until having that green card for 5 years, right? And generally, anyone who goes and they collect a federal means tested benefit within the first 5 years, um, that makes you deportable. And the reason for this is when you apply for the green card, and this is why you have to look at the questions on the form, because you specifically certified that you're not coming here to be a public charge, meaning you're not coming here to rely on the system for support. And for those of you who have signed an affidavit of support, I am so going to encourage you, ensure that the person you are signing the affidavit of support is not a waste man, yeah, or is not a Jezebel who want come live off people. The reason I am giving you this guidance, yeah, is because you signed as a joint sponsor, you signed a contract with the government to keep this person 125% of the poverty guidelines. Yeah. If the sponsor is in the military, then they just agreed to keep the person at 100% of the poverty guidelines. Now, when it is, and especially if you are in certain states, yeah, and they don't play with their money, and the immigrant that you signed that affidavit of support for goes ahead and takes a federal means tested benefits, You have to look at that contract. It says that you are jointly or severally liable. Now, the person, the entity that has paid this benefit has three options. They can decide to sue the immigrant. They can decide to sue the main sponsor. So they can decide to sue everyone individually. They can decide to sue you, or they can decide to sue everybody. You cannot determine who they sue. What you should do is, if you are sued, you should look to implead that non-paying person into the action. And this is why when people become very hesitant and you see them absolutely refusing to co-sign for people or to take on a legal obligation for someone, don't get angry at them. They don't have to, right? And I think someone is more agreeable to you saying no than you taking them around the bush. Yeah? Don't have this person waiting. And I'll never forget, I had a client where she came into the office on literal tears. Because after being here for so long and she's finally married and her husband is looking to file for her, he didn't make enough. And this was the only thing that was keeping her from getting the papers. And I don't know why she never thought of her brother. And I remember I said to her, God has taken you this far. He's not going to fail you. You're going to find somebody. Go home and think. And it's a girl who don't sit down. Like, if she was my family member, I would have signed that paper for her so quickly. Yeah? And she called her brother. And sometimes you have to humble yourself in life. And she called her brother because I don't remember whether or not she could find the brother number or what was going on, but she finally got him. And he sent that paperwork so quickly. Yeah. So sometimes you're going through a rough time, you're going through a rough spot, but you have to have faith. And I find people, at my age and stage in life, I am not taking on any stress. Like, I have to take it off my shoulder and put it on God's shoulder because I can't manage it. Yeah. And some people are trying to fight battles by themselves. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. But yeah, so federal benefits, definitely. The citizenship allows you to be able to participate in obtaining a lot of federal benefits. And from my understanding, when you have the green card, the extent and the nature of benefits are limited as opposed to when you are a citizen. Good morning, Fivia. All right, so Steffi Barth is saying, good morning, Ms. Osbourne. Can you apply for citizenship if you're not working? Yes, you can. You may have been let go. You're not collecting benefits. You don't really look like. And once you're out of that 5-year period from the time your green card was issued, then yeah, I mean, things happen, life happens. And especially in Corona, a lot of people lost their jobs. And when you look, they're like, oh, people are hiring, people are hiring. But then you have people who are still not working. What I find now is what COVID-19 did for a lot of people, it created a space for them where if they were not able to get employment, they went ahead and they created an opportunity for themselves, and especially minorities. And I'll tell you this, as a Black person in this country, right? We have to be real. We don't stand on the same footing as other people to get access to certain financial resources. And this is why we are often displaced. And for those of you who legitimately, because what a lot of people don't know right now is that the government is going through the PPP loans. And they're looking to see what people did with that money. And a lot of people are going to jail. So, and it was so dumb to me that people got this money, they're buying houses, your bank account. And it has to be that the banks are cooperating with the government in providing information, right? As to how people were spending this money. And it's not really making big headline news. But a lot of people are being arrested right now for that PPP loan fraud. Yeah. So I'm grateful that that money helped a lot of minorities to sustain their business. It gave them access to funds. If they had just gotten up off the street, went and approached a bank, and especially as Black people in America, we would not have gotten that money. Let's get real. Yeah? Anyone knows me, I am a practical person, I am a straight shooter. You're not going to get this money. Yeah? We have people now legitimately looking like me going into cash checks. And you can't believe this is 2024. And the bank doesn't believe that that check belongs to them. You have people looking like me going to open bank accounts, and the banks will not open the account for them. So, yeah, freed, but things are still the same. I don't care. It's 2024, and this is a society that we live in. Yeah? So, it is what it is. All right. One of the greatest gifts of applying, and if you're just tuning in this morning, we are focusing on the advantage of applying for citizenship versus remaining a green card holder. When you apply for your citizenship, and for those of you who are just joining, our moderator is not here today, so please don't forget to like the live and don't forget to share the live. One of the greatest benefits of this application is that you can file for certain relatives, which as a green card holder, you're not able to do. A green card holder can't file for a parent. A green card holder cannot file for a sibling. And a green card holder cannot file for a married child. And one of the worst things, and this is why I keep saying, when you're filing for your children, they are not living in the United States. And a lot of them are not privy to the rules of this immigration process. And as a green card holder, one of the first things that if you're filing for one of your children, you should be telling them, do not marry. And it's tough, especially when they are in their religion and they don't want to give, child, you know how church folks talk, honey. Nobody can talk like church folks. And they don't want to live a certain life and they're in their church. So they go and they'll go and get married and don't tell you nothing. But when they go to the embassy and they are revealing this puts them in a category where now it's adding 5 to 6 years to their wait time. And that's only if you, as a filer, had updated your status to a citizen. Because if you didn't, that petition is dead. It cannot be resurrected. And this is why when you're filing for your kids, you must have a conversation with them if you are a green card holder, right? All right. So as a citizen, you have that pull power. And pull power in terms of, oh, and by the way, when a citizen can file for a fiancé. So it broadens the amount of relatives that you can file for. And we're not focusing on the people them who are trickster and like me did telling you when we do the fiancé visa program, someone are gonna get canned and you're gonna remain a fiancé forever. They're not gonna marry you. And my thing is, if you're dating someone, yeah, and for me personally, if you're dating someone and you see a year has passed and nothing has progressed, you need to start evaluating your relationship or whether this is the right person for you. It amazes me to see people dating. No, seriously, it's not a game. Performing all activities of a spouse. Yeah? And I'm sorry. You have people who you're not married to the person and you are investing substantial monies in that person's home. Why would you do that? You're not wife. What benefits are you reaping? Yeah? There's no agreement that you should get back this money. Why would you do that? Caller, you are on the air and I think I am hearing the live, so you have to turn off the live or pull down the sound. Okay. Good morning. How can I help you?
Hi, good morning, Ms. Osbourne. I sent you a text regarding my friend. Her parents were Trinidadian. She came here at the age of 7 with them.
Okay.
They have since passed. She does not know if she was grandfathered in with the naturalization. She doesn't know her status right now. She can't find their naturalization. She doesn't know her status. She still has her passport as a Trinidad, like her Trinidadian passport. She doesn't know her status. What should she do?
Okay, so she could apply if they left a will as to be the executor of their estate, or
no, nothing.
Okay,
nothing.
No will, then she can apply to be the administrator of their estate?
No. I'm trying to find out how can she find out her status?
Okay, and this
She
is what
doesn't know.
this is what I'm telling you how she's gonna go about doing it. She is going
Oh,
to
okay.
okay. She's going to apply to be the administrator of her parents' estate, and then she is going to do a Freedom of Information Act request to get their file. Once she gets their file, it should let her know whether or not they were citizens and if she is in fact eligible to, that is, if she derived citizenship from them, or whether or not they were not citizens, or she doesn't qualify because of an age issue as to what her real status is. So she needs to get their files. All right? And only that
I'm
will
gonna have her
determine.
come to you. All right, I will have her come to you.
Okay,
Thank
my
you.
love. You're welcome. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. So let me see if there's a text message out there that I have not responded to. Okay. So someone texted, "Good morning, Miss Antoinette. Can the child of a U.S. citizen over 21 years and unmarried do their interview here in the U.S.?" Or I guess she's asking, at the Jamaica consulate? No. The child is over 21. They are in a preference category. And unless they're 245I, that is, they had a prior application before April 30th, 2001, and they can prove that they're physically present in the US as of December 20th, 2000. No, they are required to apply for a waiver and do their interview outside of the country, right? So, yeah, they're not going to be able to do it here. Hold on one second. I think there is another text that I have to get to. All right. So someone asked, this was a text with the friend from Trinidad. All right. So I answered that question. Yeah, it is. And this is so important as parents. When, if you have kids, right, and they're eligible to get the citizenship from you, I am going to encourage you, get this done, because people think they're going to be here forever. Your kids are not able to put their hands on your documents, in addition to which, and especially like divorces, yeah, the courts definitely will not give you your parents' divorce judgment. They'll give you a certificate of dissolution that they're in fact divorced, and that's in fact good enough, but the details of it you are not going to get. So June is asking with regards to, does the embassy in Jamaica accept an invitation letter? All right, I'll tell you this. People have walked with that invitation letter. They don't even get a chance to present it, because sometimes you meet an officer that I swear, Jaja, them get up and it's like, nobody now get through today. Yeah? This is a discretionary visa. You can send the invitation letter. There is absolutely no guarantee that that invitation letter is in fact going to be the cause of a favorable grant of a visa. Yeah. Everything is at the officer's discretion. And when I say officer, I mean that consular officer who is at the embassy and who has to make the determination whether or not they are going to grant this visa. And often it is a question of ties. Do you have enough ties that reassures me as an officer that if I give you this visa, you are going to return to your home country? Yeah. And I'll tell you this, immigrants who are, or I should say non immigrants, who are coming through certain airports, yeah? I don't know. I get stopped all the time, honey. I don't know why. Yeah? Um, but that's fine. Me nah not nine. Go through everything. Uh non-immigrants who are going through certain airports. Certain airports are tough. Yeah? And when I tell you, it's this is what I see happening, right? For some people will travel a lot and it's not an issue. Some people will go and just meet an officer, probably the second time they're coming, and the officer realizes I spent 3 months here. And it's a question as to why is it that you spent 3 months here? All of a sudden, you hear your working visa canceled, you get sent on the next flight out. And that is the reality for some people. Certain people, if they have a child here, they are going to renew their visa because a child born here and just by operation of law, that child is a US citizen. So it's not an issue. Now we have the issue that arises where the mother is at the embassy and they're asking her, how did you pay for this? Now they already have the answer because it's coming up. You took, I think it's Medicaid, and you get to stay on up to 6 weeks after. And they see the cost to the government for this. And some people have lost their visa as a result of coming here, having a child, and have not paid the monies that was spent to facilitate. You don't pay it back to the government to facilitate the birth of that child. Yeah. So, yeah. So, Flavor is saying, good morning. If you are a citizen and you went back to Jamaica in 2020 and got married there, can you now file for your spouse to come to the US? Oh, she's a patient. The marriage is 2020 and no filing has occurred. So she's a second wife. Not real? But yes, the answer is yes. As a US citizen, you can file for your spouse as long as you show that the marriage has continued. And at the time of filing, it is still bona fide, it remains bona fide. Yeah. How, it just amazes me. How, keep out of people business. 4 years? Why? We don't have winter here. You don't need a light blanket. All right. So just tuning in, we are coming towards the end of the program, right? Okay. Now, one of the positive things in applying for your citizenship is you do not have the burden of renewing your green card every 10 years. So you don't have to be paying that fees, you don't have to be going through the whole issue of filling out forms, going to do fingerprints if they can't reuse your fingerprints. It is a joy that you can just have your passport and the only thing you're doing is renewing your passport, which is in fact a cheaper fee, right? All right. And even if you lost your passport, it's still cheaper than when you're looking to replace the green card. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Maxine says she's doing deep thinking. What? Let me tell you, someone I bring some crosses here. I mean, oh, no, better pick up them people file, I know. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's look at reasons not to apply for your citizenship. And here are some reasons. Some people may not want to renounce their citizenship for their home country if their home country does not do dual citizenship, right? And I know for some countries, you have some countries where you cannot buy property in that country unless you are a citizen of that country. Well, we know Jamaica don't have that. Anybody can buy, right? Another thing is you have to file your income tax returns as a US citizen. As long as you fit within that threshold, you are required to file your taxes. And for some people who may be eligible to serve in the military, yeah, you can't get, I think they have the draft thing, they can call upon you. So Flavor says, Miss Osbourne, he was living in Jamaica with arms smart. He was not here. He now wants to return and file for her. Absolutely. Well, yes. Okay. All right. So she a wife. Someone not cock up in a second wife position. Very good for her. Yes. Let him return and file for her. I'll give you a joke before I end. Well, let's not look at someone's pain as a joke. For those of you who you're in your serious relationships and you're paying rent, utilities, buying food, doing the necessaries to support your girlfriends or wives. I'm going to give you a little cautionary tale because it does happen. Life will life. My nice, good, clean client with him bright self. I think there was probably a 30-year gap between him and this girl. So, him come in and him give me the story. And I say, let me take a look at her. The girl a real hot girl. Yeah. Certain girl not chat to you unless you can tap up. Sorry. Yeah, she a real hot girl. Everything done. So, one day, because he's paying for this place, and anyone who is paying down on it, Shabba say I have to pay down on it, yeah. Anyone who is paying down on it, I'm going to encourage you, have a key to that place. Some nice, good, clean client with him bright self. And for people with heart conditions, high blood pressure, hypertension, that's what it's called, who have anxiety, suffer from stress, this recommendation is not for you. I beg, I'm not here to kill anybody, oh. All right. So him decide, say, him a go take a trip. And him not tell her when him a come. So he goes and he does a surprise visit. And him going and him turn the key. Hey! When I tell you, the man nearly get the heart attack kind life in film age and condition. Yeah, because that was she and Joe Grind. Careful. Some of these long distance relationships, make sure you are fully vested. Yeah? All right. So those are the pros and the cons, as discussed earlier, to filing for your citizenship. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I'll see you next week, Sunday. Take care.